We've all heard the quaint and cheerful tales of children playing in the snow, yet today's stories tell a distinctly darker tale from within the frosty white abyss. This video explores the compelling and eerie narratives that are enough to send shivers down anyone's spine, and it's not from the cold. Prepare to journey into strange, chilling encounters with winter's most terrifying aspect. Brace yourself as we venture into 3 of the most spine-chilling snow and cold weather horror stories that may just change the way you see a snowfall. Number 1. Ice Demon's Revenge. In the silent, barren expanse of the Arctic tundra, a chilling presence lay dormant. An ancient spirit of ice and snow, it harbored a potent wrath for those who dared tread upon its sacred frostbitten terra firma. It was an ice demon, and its revenge took the form of tragic, ghastly tales of human sorrow. The chilling tale began with a group of over-enthusiastic climbers, eager to conquer the snow-clad mountain, scarcely aware of the lurking terror. The harsh cold, the wicked wind, and the biting frost were no deterrent for their adventurous spirits. They were resilient, yes, but also disdainful of the very land they dared to conquer. This blatant disregard for the sanctity of nature was precisely what awakened the dormant revenge of the ice demon. Bit by bit, the climbers started to experience unsettling occurrences. Climbing equipment mysteriously misplaced, hauntingly ethereal wails echoing through the valleys and crevices late into the night, unaccountable frostbites despite sufficient protection, and worst of all, one of their own. Dominic simply vanished without a trace, as though swallowed by the snow. A frantic search yielded no result. Dominic was gone, swept away by the ice-cold winds and leaving behind nothing but distress and fear among his friends. The disappearance plunged a dagger of dread into their hearts, their hitherto unwavering spirits withering away in the biting frost. As days turned into weeks, the climbers couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched, stalked even, by an unseen terror. Freezing gusts, which they had previously laughed off, now seemed to hold ghastly secret whispers, as though the winds themselves held the vengeful spirit. Each fluttering snowflake seemed to pierce their hearts with icy fear, their dreams violently disturbed by visions of a monstrous entity made of ice, its icy breath freezing their blood. In the climactic days of their expedition, their leader, Alex, suddenly fell gravely ill, his body temperature dropping in a mysterious mimicry of the chilling external environment. His erstwhile icicle-like skin took on a blue hue, the frostbite eerily mirroring the likeness of the ice demon in their tormented dreams. He woke up freezing and shivering one cold night, the snow around his bed seemingly untouched, except for an enormous, unhuman footprint etched deep in the powdery white, directly underneath their precarious shelter. Alex's friends could only watch in horror as he was then consumed by a blinding snowstorm, which sprang up around him alone, ice shards piercing his skin. When the blizzard subsided, Alex was nowhere to be found. It was as if the snow consumed him, leaving behind only a chilling silence and the terror-stricken survivors, bearing witness to the terrifying revenge of the ice demon, a stark reminder of mankind's inconsequence against the true, ruthless might of nature. The survivors started believing they were not conquering, but merely surviving on borrowed time in the clutches of the ice demon's revenge. Number 2. Frostbite, the unseen terror. Imagine the bite of the winter's wind, so sharp and biting, it feels as if it peels away at your flesh, raw and brutal, an unseen terror. This is the story of frostbite. This cruel, dehumanizing affliction starts subtly, first numbing your skin, letting you feel a false sense of comfort before it ruthlessly digs its icy claws into you. In the crispy, cold wilderness of Alaska, a group of researchers were gathered for an expedition. Experienced and full of anticipation, they wanted to study the flora and fauna of this unapologetic chill, ignorant of the terror that was to envelop them soon. The weather was as unforgiving as it could be, slicing through layers of clothes like a hot knife through butter. Yet, their spirit of exploration blinded their sense of prudence. As days passed, one of the researchers, Jake, started to feel a strange tingling sensation in his fingers. Ignoring it as weariness, he pressed on. Days turned into weeks, and the biting cold began to mercilessly gnaw on his flesh. His fingers turned pale white, devoid of any sensation. Still, Jake trudged on, dismissing it as a harmless consequence of the freezing weather. Then one morning, Jake woke up to an icy horror. His fingertips had turned an unnatural shade of blue, almost black, and interspersed within were gray, dead spots. Frantically, he tried to move his fingers, but they were rigid, akin to grotesque icicles. The others, horrified, realized the dreadful truth. Frostbite had claimed its first victim. Panic ensued as they tried every measure for frostbite treatment: warmth, nourishment, even shared body heat. Nothing worked. Frostbite had clenched Jake with a grip so tight. He was slowly slipping away, his life force draining. Worse still, the team was stranded, storms and blizzards creating an impenetrable wall between them and civilization. The terrifying realization kicked in that if they didn't act fast, they too would succumb to Frostbite's cold, cruel grip. In the biting cold and despair, they huddled together, desperately waiting for rescue, praying not to awake to the relentless, numbing pain in their extremities. As they waited for what felt like an eternity, Jake was now an icy shell of his former self. His eyes held a dull flicker, the last vestige of his vitality slowly ebbing away. His once rosy cheeks were ashen, his lips a deathly blue. Their friend, mentor, the heart of their team, was being ruthlessly stripped away by this unseen terror of the cold. The eerie silence of the wilderness was broken by the distant hum of an approaching helicopter. With their frost-kissed faces turned to the sky, they felt a glimmer of hope amidst the terror. But they knew it was too late for Jake. And therein lies the terror of Frostbite, a cold, unseen enemy lurking in the darkness of icy weather, claiming its victims one frozen heartbeat at a time, a chilling reminder of the merciless cruelty nature can sometimes unleash. Number 3. Blizzard Shadows, Lost in White Hell. There's no winter like a Sierra winter. When snow begins to fall and paint everything with its unsettlingly serene white blanket, even the bravest become wary. This is not just about the chill, it's about what the chill brings along. Take Debbie, for instance, a seasoned, tough-as-nails mountain climber. Over the years, she had tamed many a beastly mountain, had witnessed majestic snow-capped peaks melting in the summer sun, and icy rivers break into frenzy in the brutish winds. This was until she faced the Sierra's deadly winter and encountered the fear that lurks in its white hell. Debbie and her team set out one December morning, excited and eager. Their initial progress was smooth, but as they pushed deeper into the higher altitudes, the climate started to get ruthless. It began to snow, but not a gentle, romantic cascade of small white flakes. No, this was a raging blizzard, casting an ominous pall of whiteness in every direction, reducing visibility to near zero and making navigation almost impossible. While an average soul would feel suffocated by the absence of color, Debbie trudged on. Her steps were measured and deliberate, but soon she noticed something odd. There were shadows moving around them. At first, she dismissed it as paranoia induced by the barren white solitude. But as the days rolled in, lethargically as the cold grew more severe, the shadows became bolder and more ominous. One night, around their campfire, barely holding up against the howling blizzard, she saw it for the first time, a pair of chillingly cold, ice-blue eyes peeking from the white darkness. Startled, she mistook it for a wild mountain animal. But was it? The entity was like a ghost, vanishing and reappearing, always lurking on the edges of their campsite. Then, one by one, her teammates started to vanish. Each disappearance was enigmatic, terrifying. They were just there, and then they weren't. No tracks, no sounds, no struggle, as though swallowed up by the ice itself. Only those staring ice-blue eyes remained constant, growing bolder and ever closer each night. Finally came that horrifying night when it was just her left. The blizzard had calmed down, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. With the fire crackling weakly, she saw the eyes again. This time they were alarmingly close, and they were not alone. There were many, all glaring at her, cold, emotionless, predatory. In the daunting silence, she felt a chill run down her spine. Only then did she realize what those icy eyes were. They weren't of animals. They were the eyes of her lost teammates, changed, transformed, their bodies long consumed by the blizzard, their souls now trapped, forever wandering as shadows in the white hell. As the new reality dawned on a terrified Debbie, she knew she was next, another addition to the Blizzard Shadows eerie collective. As we bid goodbye to the chills of these tales, we hope you enjoyed these snowy and cold weather-inspired horror stories. Remember, every like and subscribe fuels us on this bone-chilling journey, so hit that like button if these tales sent a shiver down your spine. Sleep tight and remember, the frost outside may not always be your biggest fear. Until our paths cross again in the realm of nightmares, thank you for watching.